Most people stay broke for one reason. They never follow a real roadmap. If you start with zero and hit the right steps at 1,000 euros, 10,000 euros, and 100,000 euros, your life changes fast. Here's exactly how to build wealth from nothing, no matter your age.
You ever feel like building wealth is some kind of secret club you weren't invited to? Well, today we are kicking that door right down. We're going to lay out a super clear step-by-step roadmap for building wealth, even if you're starting from absolute zero. All right, let's get into it. Okay, real quick before we jump in, just gotta say this is all for educational purposes. It's not financial advice, so please always do your own research or chat with a pro. So why are we talking about this right now? Why the urgency? Well, check this out. A NASDAQ analysis found something kind of crazy. If you start investing at age 20, you could end up 62% wealthier than someone who waits until they're 25. I mean, that's not just a small gap, right? That is a life-changing amount of money we're talking about, all because of a 5-year head start. But hey, don't let that number freak you out. Look, the best time to start was yesterday. We all know that. But the second best time? It's right now. And the good news is we have the exact plan to get you started. All right, let's do this. Welcome to stage 1. We're calling this your foundation. The goal here? To get you from zero to your very first 1,000 euros. Seriously, think of this as building the launchpad for your entire financial future. It all starts here. So, what's the first secret weapon of the wealthy? It's this. A staggering 93% of millionaires, they stick to a written budget every single month. And look, this isn't about restricting yourself. It's about taking control. It's about telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And get this, on top of that, an even higher number, 94%, consistently spend less than they earn. Again, this isn't about being cheap. It's about being intentional. This one habit, right here, is the absolute engine of building wealth. So your mission for stage 1 is to lock in these 5 core habits, okay? Number 1, set smart goals. Know what you're aiming for. 2, budget like you mean it. Every single euro has a job. 3, eliminate that high-interest debt. Attack it like it's on fire, because financially, it kind of is. 4, start a small emergency fund, just enough so a flat tire doesn't completely derail you. And 5, invest in yourself. And that last point, it brings us to what might be the most powerful idea in this entire stage. And it comes from the man himself, Warren Buffett. He said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. And you gotta understand, that's not just fluffy career advice. It's a hardcore financial strategy. Why? Because your skills are your #1 tool for earning more money. Period. Okay, you did it. You've built the habits, you've saved your first 1,000 euros. Seriously, congratulations. That's a huge step. Now, welcome to stage 2. It's time to put that money to work. So remember that crazy 62% number from the beginning? This right here is why that happens. It's all about compound growth. An early start just gives your money more time to make more money. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. And honestly, it is the closest thing to a real-life cheat code for building wealth. Which leads us to maybe the single most important takeaway from this whole section. Your biggest, most powerful asset, it isn't some secret stock tip or a fancy algorithm, it's time. Plain and simple. The more time you give your money, the harder it works for you. So what do you actually do with that first 1,000 euros? Well, a really common and powerful strategy is to split it up. You could put the majority, say 80%, into a low-cost index fund, which, by the way, is just a super simple way to own a tiny piece of a bunch of the biggest companies all at once. Then you take the other 20% and keep beefing up that emergency fund. Okay, so your action plan for stage 2 is pretty straightforward. First, get a brokerage account open. It's easier than you think. Second, if your employer offers any kind of retirement match, you take it. All of it. It is literally free money. Do not leave it on the table. Third, automate your investments. Set it and forget it. Then keep growing that emergency fund to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. And finally, maybe start looking into a side hustle to bring in some extra cash. All right, on to stage 3. You've hit the 10,000 euro mark. Things are getting serious now. This is where your strategy starts to level up. We're talking diversification and hitting the accelerator. So, diversification. What does that even mean? It's really just that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You're spreading your money across different types of investments that don't all move in the same direction. So you might have global stocks for that long-term growth, some bond funds for a bit more stability, and maybe even a slice of real estate through something called a REIT, which just lets you invest in property without, having to buy an entire apartment building. And here's why that is so, so important. If you're invested in just one thing, the ride can be, well, pretty wild. Lots of big ups and big downs. But when you spread your investments out, they act like shock absorbers for your portfolio. The goal is to smooth out that ride, reducing the scary drops while still capturing that sweet market growth. And that brings us to the big one, stage 4. You've crossed the 6-figure mark, 100,000 euros or more. This is a massive milestone. And at this point, your focus starts to shift. It's less about just piling up money and more about optimizing and protecting everything you've worked so hard to build. So let's talk about optimizing. Here's a super powerful example. Let's say you have a mortgage. Look at what happens if you pay just an extra 300 euros a month on a standard 15-year loan. You could be totally debt-free 2.5 years sooner. Just think about that for a second. Not only the thousands you'd save in interest, but the feeling of owning your home free and clear, years ahead of schedule. And here's a stat that might actually surprise you. Reaching that 6-figure milestone doesn't mean it's time to go on a massive spending spree. In fact, a huge 86% of self-made millionaires stay frugal. They don't forget the smart habits that got them to where they are in the first place. So yeah, at this stage, the game really does change. You're still investing and diversifying, of course, but you're also getting more strategic. You're accelerating that mortgage payoff, you're looking at tax planning strategies, and you're even starting to think about things like estate planning and your legacy. It's the whole shebang. So let's just zoom out and recap the entire roadmap real quick. At 0, you build the habits. At 1,000, you start investing. At 10,000, you diversify. And at 100,000, you optimize. See? It's a clear step-by-step process. So there you have it. The roadmap is clear. The path is laid out right in front of you. The only real question left is, when are you going to take that first step? If you're ready to take that step and you want more clear, no-nonsense guides just like this one to help you on your journey, make sure you subscribe to Almost FI. We'd love to have you. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content.